Hey everybody, welcome back. Thought I'd do a quick video tonight on the progress of the dragster. I got the A-arms made the other day, and in the last video I talked about the concept of stagger, and I thought I would do a video on that and explain that a little bit. So first of all, it is cold here in Illinois. Hopefully you guys are, some of you are watching this from a warmer climate. It is currently about 0 right now, and it is nasty out there. Oh, burr. So, we're in the shop, and it is currently only about, I think I got the furnace on 55 right now. We use radiant tube heat in here, and I've got this little salamander heater. Hasn't been cleaned in years, as you can see. It's a workhorse though. With this chromoly tubing, it is pretty finicky to temperature. So you really want it to be about 70 degrees when you're welding it, because when you get off your weld, if the air temperature is below 70 degrees, it cools too fast and it becomes brittle and it can break. So it's really, there's a huge cost difference in building in the wintertime versus building in the summertime, because you have to heat the shop. So right now, tonight, I am not doing any welding on this thing. So it seemed like the perfect opportunity to make a video. So I posted some pictures on Instagram and Facebook about this, and people commented, and a couple people messaged me asking me about my choice to bolt these A-arms on to the chassis rather than weld them straight to it. And you can really see why I chose to bolt it. If you look at the angle of that upper A-arm, had that had to reach the frame rail, it would have been at an upward angle a lot more than what it is now, and it would have been a weaker angle. Even though it was welded, I didn't feel like it was a good angle. So, and my heater chose to turn on right now, so it's gonna rattle. But anyways, the reason why is because this chassis, I originally built this and calculated it to be a 272-inch wheelbase. And if you remember in my previous video, I chose to extend it another 3 inches to make it a 275-inch wheelbase. So this upper frame rail starts at that shoulder hoop, and it's a fixed angle all the way out. And if you can see where those string lines go, they eventually become a point. So when I chose to go from 272 to 275, that frame rail dropped down, which meant that A-arm would have been lower. So by welding those tabs on there, I was able to raise that up. Those are 3/8 grade 8 bolts. I believe it's all going to be strong enough. I've seen other chassis done this way. I've actually seen some top fuel cars done this way. So I feel like it's going to be fine. I may elect to weld a brace between here and here, which would keep that from ever being able to go that way, and it would be way stronger. But the body is actually above and wider than all that, so the nose piece that I've got for it fits over that, and then the body will start behind that, and you won't even be able to see any of that. So let's get to the stagger. If you remember before, I chose 1 7/8 inch of stagger. Rules allow for 2 inches of stagger. So if you look at this, the reason why this wheel is further forward than that wheel is due directly to the rotational torque of the engine. That chassis transfers load from that engine, and it's always going to raise this wheel first before it raises that wheel. So that stage beam is 1 5/8 inch off the ground. If you leave before the light turns green and you wheelie and you pull those wheels out of that beam, even if they don't go forward of that beam, if they come above that beam before that light turns green, you red light. So when you choose to do stagger, this wheel goes further forward than that wheel, strictly due to the rotational torque of the engine and which wheel comes off the ground first. By leaving the back wheel on the ground longer, you can leave sooner. That wheel holds your beam, and that's one benefit of stagger. The other benefit of stagger is just rollout. So rollout is the distance that it takes for that wheel to roll forward before it breaks that beam. If you've ever been to a drag race and you watch cars stage, you'll know that you've got your top bulb is your pre-stage light, your second bulb or bottom bulb is your stage light. So you roll into that pre-stage beam, you light that top bulb, and then you creep forward until you have both bulbs lit. That means that wheel, there's 7 inches between those two beams. I believe it's 7 inches. If I'm wrong, somebody can comment on that. That wheel is holding both of those beams closed. If you've ever seen a car roll forward a little bit to a deep stage, that top bulb goes out. That does give you an advantage because you're closer to the finish line, but it robs ET. You don't ever want a deep stage like in qualifying or anything like that, or if you're running for lane choice, you want maximum ET. You want to stage as shallow as possible because you can leave sooner so that car has a rolling head start before that light turns green. So with stagger, you actually increase your rollout because you're staggering your 2 front wheels. So a single front wheel, if you look at that car over there, is 22 inches on a dragster. On door cars, they're even bigger. So I believe NHRA sets it with a 22-inch wheel for like 11.5 to 12 inches of rollout. Now this car has no stagger. So if your stage beam is holding on this side of the tire, or if your pre-stage beam is holding on this side of the tire and your stage beam is holding on this side of the tire, if you roll forward to, say, deep stage, to just to the point where that stage beam, the pre-stage beam goes out, your stage beam will still be lit. You could roll forward another couple inches before the stage beam ever goes out. But if you have stagger, you can stage with this side and let that side be in front, effectively being 1 7/8 inches in my case, or 2 inches max, closer to the finish line. So it's kind of a cheating thing. And I'm assuming, I've never done research on this, but I'm assuming way back in the day, guys were experimenting with like extreme, like 5 and 6 inches of stagger. And the NHRA finally set, a 2-inch maximum. Because ideally, all cars would be built with no stagger and there would be no advantage. But at some point in time, the 2-inch stagger was set as a rule. So now, if you want a car that's competitive, you've got to build it with stagger. I don't have a problem with it. I actually think it's kind of cool. It's a little challenging. These A-arms, I did them with chromoly aero tubing, and you can see where I sliced them, and I'll weld that in with all chromoly flat plate tubing. I've got some right here. This side was a different angle. I was able to keep it straight on the lower one. On that one, I had to be at such an angle that I had to slice a little bit off. So, I think it's going to look cool, and it's going to serve a purpose. I think it'll be plenty strong. The aero tubing to me looks way better than the old school round tubing where they had like a tri setup rather than just a dual setup. So, yeah, that's pretty much it with stagger. It gives you a starting line advantage, which any time in drag racing, if you can improve your short time, your final ET is just that much better. Small increments in the short track grow to big increments at the finish line. So the reason why a lot of your shorter 4-link cars, super comp cars and that are no stagger, is because they look for repeatability. They aren't looking necessarily to be the fastest car on the track. They are looking to run the same number every time, have the same reaction time every time. It takes some, it just takes some variables out of the staging process. In Top Dragster, Top Dragster is kind of a weird deal because qualifying is a heads up deal. And we're not allowed to run faster than 6.1 seconds or 6:10 ET. But you have to run as fast as you can to qualify, especially me, being underpowered, small displacement engine. This thing's got to run its maximum ability to hope to qualify. So I need every advantage that I can. So I'm going to go in, with this stagger, and I'm probably going to stage with this wheel and, see if that works and try to leave that much sooner and have that much more of a rolling head start before that light turns green and that timer starts when I break that beam. Get maximum ET. Now, if I can qualify when it comes to eliminations, then it's a bracket race. You need to know what your car is going to do. You need to dial in that ET, and then you're still going to need to run that number. So the staging process really needs to be the same every time anyway. So I chose to do stagger. I believe that if you built 2 identical cars with the same driver, same engine, everything the same, identical reaction times, you build one car with stagger, one car without stagger, that car with stagger is going to beat the other car to the finish line by the difference of the stagger every time. So to be competitive, that's where it's at. So anyways, I wanted to keep this video short and just talk about the progress. And if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them. I'm always happy to answer questions. And like and share this video. And hopefully the weather will change soon. We'll get some more opportunity to work on this thing. And I really hope to have this thing going this year. It's been a long time coming. Some of you guys know I've been building this car for 5 years. And it hasn't been easy. I've had a hard road. And I'm really glad that it worked out this way, though, because I'm getting a better final project. And I just think that everything happens for a reason. And one day I'm going to have this done, and I'm going to have a sense of achievement. It's a bucket list car. I'm not rich. I don't have endless resources. I don't have anybody really helping me. I did have some help with Varen from VS Racing on the turbos, and I had some help on my primary injectors from Snake Eater's Performance. That's really the only people, and all I did was message them and showed them pictures of what I was doing and told them what I wanted to do, and I wanted to use their product, and they were happy to help. And I mean, they hooked me up big time. So hopefully that continues. Some of the stuff that I have for it, I would like to upgrade. For one thing, the transmission. Oh, I'll show you guys the transmission here because I just got it out of the bag the other day. Transmission I built 5 years ago with the help from Jim Buford up at Buford Racing Transmissions in Bloomington. And that case, knock that over. That SFI tag on there, those SFI tags that's expired. So this month, that transmission's never been ran. So I've got to pull it apart. Got to ship that case to California and have it re-inspected and recertified. But that's just another thing that had I not done that in this process, I wouldn't have known. I've learned a lot about transmissions since I built that, and there are some things I want to change with it. I want to put a converter charge dump valve in it so that I can dump pressure off the torque converter when I'm spooling the turbos on pre-staging. Just little things like that you learn as you go. I'm gonna have a nicer finished product when I'm done, and I'm excited about it. It's not easy. It's a lot of work. I'm happy to share it with you guys. And hopefully my YouTube videos will get better. Currently right now, I'm just winging it off an iPhone. So hopefully you guys like it. Subscribe, share, comment, anything. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.